I always got to remember to put the mic on. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you guys doing? Hello out there. Elaine Proby here. We're going to talk about debt today. So we always talk about making money and saving money, and we want to talk about how to get out of debt so we can save more money. So we're going to talk about understanding your debt today, guys. Hit like and share on this video. Let's get some friends up in here. Very important information today. This one I'm sure we can all relate to. Everybody can relate to debt because we all have debt. We all have some type of debt or another, some more than others. So we want to talk about these debt. We want to understand them. We want to make sure that we only try to incur the debt that we have to. We only, keep the ones that we need to, get rid of what we don't need. Hey, Margie, thanks for jumping on here. So today we're going to talk about understanding your debt. I know we all have, we all have a lot of debt. Some people do more than others, and some of it you come by, just based on emergencies and different things that may have happened along the way. And some of us got debt just because somebody want to give us, some credit or something. So, we all have incurred debt in one way or another. So we want to talk about understanding those debt. We want to talk about what you need to do about them, the different types of debt. And we want to talk about how the debt affects you, along the way, how it affects your net worth, and then we'll talk about what net worth is. And I want to tell you guys about different types of debt. Sometimes people feel like they could just incur debt and just let it go and leave it alone and it goes away. But that doesn't happen. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes it can get very, very, very crucial. So, and even legal. So we will talk about that. And then, of course, what to do about it. It's always, we need to have a solution, what to do about it, right? So that guys, today, again, understanding your debt. Elaine Proby here. We'll touch on like 4 different points. And after this, you guys I am sure, can make use of this information. And I want everybody to take this information and at least put it into effect. Work on it for your own personal use, okay? Let's see. Let's do live on IG. All right. So all that IG folks, let me see if they are getting on here. All right. So we are live on IG. All right. You are on. Okay. So yeah, for the folks over here on IG, we're talking about understanding your debt today. We're going to talk about what the debts are, the different types, and we're going to talk about how it affects your net worth, which is your bottom line. I'll explain what that is, and then we'll talk about what you can do about it, how you can improve it, and why, and how it's going to help you financially. So let's jump right into this, guys. And number one, it is said, data has it where there's over maybe 15 trillion people that are in debt today, and it's constantly rising. And that's a lot of folks. And the average person may have over about $90,000 in debt for one reason or another, or a combination, of course, of things. So it's more than 90,000 in debt, the average person. So over 15 trillion people are in debt. So it's obviously a common thing. It seems like, you live on a daily basis, incurring more debt. And one of the things we want to talk about today is be careful, what to look for, and what you need to know. So the first point is what you need to know about the debt that you incur. First thing, you guys, when you are getting ready to acquire debt, be it a credit card, be it a car note, an automobile, whatever it is, you want to pay attention to certain items like the interest rate. Very important. Don't just incur debt, sign off on the bottom line on somebody's trying to give you some money or somebody's extending credit for you to purchase something. Don't just sign off on the bottom line because they said to sign here. Pay attention to the interest rate. You want to know that because the higher the interest rate is, the more you got to pay on a monthly basis. The longer the term is that you got to pay this debt, the more out-of-pocket money that you pay. You can borrow $5,000 and literally pay $7,000 or $8,000 back if the interest rate is high. So pay attention to the interest rate. Pay attention to the monthly payment because very important. The monthly payment is going to determine how you will be able to service this debt that you incur. Are you going to be able to afford the payments? So you don't want to incur debt and get monthly payments that you can't really afford. All right. So that's what you don't want to do. So pay attention. If they said, here's the debt, here's the card, here is where you sign. How much are you borrowing? What's the interest rate on it? What is my monthly payment? Can I afford it? Right? And estimated payoff. How long is it going to take me to pay this debt off? These are the things that you want to pay attention to when you are getting ready to incur any type of debt. That's what you want to pay attention to, okay? Because if you can't afford to make payments, again, that will put you in default. And then, of course, it becomes a snowball effect, and a lot of stuff can happen that you really don't want. So you have to understand these 4 items, guys, before you sign the bottom line on any type of debt that you are incurring. So that's the number 1 point today. Hey, Karen, thanks for jumping on here. Eddie, hi, Elaine. Okay, so let's see. Did you call? Did I get a call from you? Okay, that's the office number that you call. So let me check with them. Okay, got that number. I'll check with them and see, because I know they were reaching out to you. So let me follow up. I think everything is fine. Everything should be gone by now. All right, so guys, hey Laverne, thanks for jumping in. Thanks for jumping in here. Thanks for jumping on, Karen. Say hi, Elaine. How are you doing today? All right, so that's the first point today, guys. Pay attention to the interest rate. Second point today, we want to talk about types of debt. And this is very important too. So you want to know what type of debt you are getting. There is secured debt and unsecured debt. All right. So if you are getting a loan on something, the secured debt, or when you get loans, for instance, like in a home, loan on a car, loan on a piece of equipment, anything that if you are not able to pay that money back, there's a collateral that the lender can come and pick up. So for instance, if you don't pay your car note, the loan that you get on the car is secured by the car. And if you don't pay the car note, the lender will come and pick up the car, right? Same thing, they'll repossess the house. They'll repossess whatever it is. Those are secured debt. The money you get is secured by that asset. And if you do not pay, the lender will come and seize that asset from you. So those are secured debt. But then, of course, you have unsecured debt, which has no collateral. And those are things like credit card loans. You get a credit card loan. There's nothing that is attached to that credit card. You spend that money on a variety of things. There's no one item that the lender can come and pick up when you get a credit card loan, right? So what happens there is if you don't pay, they can't seize anything. However, the lender can file a lawsuit and bring legal action against you personally to make you pay that money. So they can go to court. They can take you to court, sue you for that, and they could get a money judgment, and they can collect that money from any bank account that you have open. So you can't just, well, there's nothing for them to seize. I will run this credit card up, use all this money and not pay it, and there's nothing they can do about it. That is not true. They can literally bring legal action, get a money judgment through the courts, and they can go to your bank and get their money, okay? So those are unsecured debt and secured debt. They all have consequences. The whole idea is that you get the debt. You want to be able to pay it. If you pay attention to number one and make sure your interest rate is right, make sure that your payments is affordable, then we won't have this problem, right? We won't have a problem with not being able to pay. All right, you guys agree? Okay, hit some likes in the bottom here in the comments and let me know you guys agree with this, right? Because the whole idea is we want to do things right so we won't have to suffer these consequences. So the third point today, guys, the effects on your net worth. Now, you guys hear net worth all the time. Everyone is worth something. And what net worth means is what you have, the assets that you have, and how much money you owe, right? So you hear a lot of people, they own a lot of stuff. Oh, I got all these houses, I got all these cars, I've got all this stuff. But if they got it all in credit and their debt is higher than what they own, right? They are not worth anything. So that's what your net worth means. You have to have more assets than you do liabilities. You have to have more things, more cash in the bank, right? More equity in property, more equity in your business. You have to have more of that than you owe, more bills, more people that you are indebted to, more loans. You have to have less loans, more assets for you to be worth something. If you sell all the assets that you own, can you afford to pay off all your bills? Can you afford to pay off all your loans? So this is what your net worth is. You could have a lot of stuff and really is not worth anything because you owe more money out to all the people who loan you money, right? So Laverne says you sent a request to be in your live video. Okay. You sent a request to be in a live video. I don't know how to do that, right? I do not know how to do that. I won't touch anything. I have to figure that one out. All right. So that's the network, guys. You want to own more than you owe so you could be worth something. And don't try to just get everything you have based on all this credit and have more liability, more debt than assets, right? So that's my third point today. And the fourth point here, guys, we want to talk about how you can fix this. And one of the things you want to do is you definitely want to increase your assets. You want to increase the things that you own. You want to be able to have more money in the bank. You want to have things that are worth more. You want to buy, like if you have a car, if you pay off that car, then and the car is worth $5,000 or $10,000. So now you have more assets because that liability is gone. That debt is gone. The car you no longer owe on it. This is what you want to do. So, and in order to do this, you want to be able to pay your debt down. We had a session about how you pay your debt down. You want to pay the highest interest notes first, and then you have a strategic plan. Write everything down that you owe, and you pay the one with the highest interest first. Of course, you got to pay things like your car note and your house note and stuff like that. Those are mandatory. You got to pay those every month. But if you have an option like credit card debt and any other type of debt that has a higher interest rate, you want to put more on that minimum payment. Just don't send minimum payments, guys. It will never pay these things down on time. The longer you take to pay, the more interest you pay. So you want to strategically write out what you owe, the interest rate, and start paying the highest interest rate off so you can zero out those debt. And this is how you have more assets than you do debt, you do loans, and this is how you're worth more money, right? You're worth more. All right. And what does this do? It increases your credit, right? Increases your credit, paying your bills on time, paying down the debt, increasing your net worth, increases your credit score. That gives you the power, give you the ability to acquire more assets because you can't get anything or buy anything at value without having great credit. So all this stuff, it all rolls into one. Guys, very important. And we live with this on a daily basis. This is from a personal perspective, not a business perspective. Same applies to business, but personally, we all have this issue. We all have debt, and we all trying to get rid of the debt and increase our net worth. And by doing so, we have more money at the bottom line, more money to spend, more money available to increase our assets and to increase our wealth. That's it. It sounds very, very simple, right? But it sounds complicated, but it's a real simple process. Hey, Andy, thanks for jumping in here. Hey, Lorna, thanks for jumping on. Margie says, great. All right. Margie says, great advice, paying off debt. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. You're very welcome. And, we don't pay attention to this stuff. But if you only have two credit cards, one has a high interest rate, pay more money to that one and less to the other one. Just write it down, guys. It's really a simple process. We need to do this. Daily, we have to deal with this. We all have incurred debt over time. Hello, my lovely auntie. How you doing? Good afternoon, Andy. Good afternoon. All right, so you guys agree with me. I'm going to recap this real quick. We all have debt. We all need to know how to deal with it. We all want to understand it. Do not incur any other debt unless you have to, unless it's an emergency, unless it's something you need, you see a way out. And until you follow these points, what you need to know, guys, that today's understanding your debt. Point number one is what you need to know. And this is key. Interest rate, your minimum payment, the estimated payoff time. Okay, so the higher the interest rate is, the higher the payment is, the longer it may take for you to pay it off. And if you can't afford a payment, it will create a catastrophe in your whole financial life. Credit score goes bad and everything else. We don't want that. So that's the first point. Second point is the type of debt. You have secured debt, like your car, like a home. The lender can come and pick up that asset if you don't pay. But you have unsecured debt, like credit cards and things like that. People just give you a loan where you don't have to sign on it. You didn't have any collateral. They just give you a personal loan. Don't feel that you don't have to pay this money back because there's no collateral. There's nothing attached to it. However, you can be sued and they can get a money judgment and they can get their money still. So you want to make sure you pay that. Be responsible. Get your credit score up. That's the second point today. And the third point, your net worth, which is how much your assets are, how much you own, how much money you have in the bank, how much you own versus how much you owe, how much you own versus how much you owe. And if you owe more than you own, then you are upside down. You're worth nothing. There's no net worth. There's no value there. You want to have more than you owe so that you can have value. Having value gives you credit, and you can it will allow you to get more assets and increase your net worth, increase your wealth. Okay, so that's number 3. And number 4, what to do about it, how to increase your net worth, how to increase your asset. Guys, we talked about decrease your debt, pay off the highest credit card first. Don't incur any more debt unless it's an emergency, unless you have to. Outside of that, just don't get a credit card because someone sends it to you in the mail. And they send you about 15 of these things in the mail on a daily basis. Don't sign off on every one of them. Interest rates are very high if you pay attention to that stuff. You want to eliminate it and just take what is necessary, what is needed for you to function and for you to be able to manage and control your finances so you can have money in the end to save so you can become wealthy. Okay, so there you have it. That is my points today. With that said, guys, put your comments below. Understanding your debt, very important, very seriously, daily. This is what will drive us to the finish line. So we need to make sure we pay attention to this stuff and we have to take care of it like as we should. All right. So with that said, guys, put your comments in below. I will come back to you and get those. Any questions regarding any of this matter, anything that we're talking about here today. We're going to be talking about acquiring real estate and things like that later on. And what we're talking about now is going to allow you to be able to acquire real estate. And we'll tell you how that was going to happen. We'll have guests on here to talk about that and managing your debt, because it's going to ultimately affect you. Can't have a whole lot of credit. I mean, a lot of bills and liability and a lot of debt. It's going to affect you. Okay. So put your comments below. I'll come back through here and answer those. Call us at PROBY'S 323-290-9034 if you have any further questions about anything we talked about here today, anything you might want to know about, and or visit our website at PROBY'Stax.com, and you can make appointments there for any type of consultation. We'll be happy to help you out. And with that said, I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you guys back here next week. And with that said, you guys take care of each other and take care of yourself.